Right.
Good evening, everyone, and I take this pleasure to welcome you all to this webinar session with the mentors from RRD. So I'm sure this session is going to be very, very useful to all of you, where the speaker and mentor, Mr. Milan Paduka from RRD is with us. He is going to provide more useful insights on the problem statements and the data sets that most of you would have received it by now, and he's going to give you brief and idea that how you should develop the solution. Okay, so I welcome all of you. Milan, can you please take this forward from here?
Yep, sure, Vijita, thanks. Just a quick check. You guys are able to hear me, and also you guys are able to see my screen?
Yes.
All right, thanks. So probably in the next 30 minutes or so, what we will do is I will take you through the 3 challenges that we have defined. Also on the data sets and what exactly the output that's required from the contestants and how they will be marked based on the solutions that has been given. So that being said, I'll take you to the first challenge, which is simply a triaging document, a classification problem, and the output that's required is in CSV tabular output. So we simply want you to create a table. I will take you through in detail at what exactly that is. So in this problem, this is the simplest problem that we have of the 3, and hence the 25% of the marks that have been allocated, whereas the other 2 problems carry 100 marks. And the main basic idea of this question is, in the industry that we are in, not only BPO, in any industry for that matter, the jobs that you receive or any work that you have needs to be classified based on pre-definitions that you have. So in this case, to keep things simple, we only have 3 buckets, which is easy, moderate, and difficult. And so the logics that we need for these have already been defined by us. So in this case, easy would be accounts with only balance sheet. So before I go here, I will talk a little bit about the data set that we have. So the data set that's been shared are nothing but the annual accounts that are being filed in the UK. So what you're looking at are what will be provided are the actual annual accounts that have been filed for the year 2018 in the UK. So from these annual accounts, we want you to focus or use the logics that we have provided and classify them into these 3 buckets, which will be easy, moderate, and difficult. So how we define easy is, the logic here is very simple. If you go to accounts and if you only find the balance sheet and there are no notes within the balance sheet, we would classify that as an easy account. So the difference here is, usually in a financial document, in addition to your balance sheet, right, you will have a cash flow statement, you will have a P&L, profit and loss, and you will have so many other information. So go through the sheet and just make sure that you only have a balance sheet and nothing else, which is your profit and loss, your cash flow. So these are information. So it's a simple logic that you will need to use here to make sure that you only have a balance sheet and that there are no notes within the balance sheet. So when we say notes, I'm referring to this table. So this is how a simple balance sheet would look like. You will have the title, you will have the data, and under notes column, you will have some numbers. So if you do not have any numbers, and if the only document, table that you can find in this sheet is a balance sheet, which is written here very clearly, then you would classify these accounts as easy. And then moving to moderate, you will have financial statements with the balance sheet, a profit and loss statement, and a cash flow statement. And all these 3 could be with notes. However, information in notes, either in balance sheet, profit and loss, or cash flow, are only in tabular format and not as in free flowing text. So what I mean by this is, now how usually, in case if you're not aware, how a financial statement would work is, you will have note numbers here And if you go down the financial statement, you will have for each and every note number, you will have some description. In this case, you have 11, 12, and 15. So if I take you down, under notes, you will have this. So you'll have a 3, and this is the note for the point 3. If you look at an actual document, now in this case, this has about 17 notes. So you'll have 17 different data points like this, like here. So this is 1, this is 1.1, this is 1.2, likewise. But you need to make sure that all the data that you have here are only in tabular format. Anything that's in free flowing, this will not classify as a moderate account. Is that clear? Can I have a quick check? Vijita, is there a way for me to get a quick check?
Yeah, so if there is any questions that people can just unmute themselves and they can ask the question, or else they can type the question in the chat box. I can read out for them.
Right. All right. So with that, if I move,
we can go ahead. Yeah.
Yeah. So with that, if I move to the third bucket, which is difficult, so it's going to be the same. You'll have financial documents with all above components that we mentioned, which is your balance sheet, profit and loss, and cash flow statement with notes. However, the information in notes can also be in tabular and also in free-flowing text. So if that is the case, we will classify that as them as difficult. So these are the 3 simple classifications that we have, and the contestants are expected to. So how I would imagine the solution is, the end solution is, you will have a folder where we will place these test accounts. We will, when we run the solution, it has to pick these files from the folder, run it through the logics that you have, and then you will have 3 output into a output it to a CSV format, CSV file with this for each and every financial account name. You will have the classification in front of that, which is easy, moderate, or difficult. So this is how I would explain this solution, and I will pause for a moment here to take any questions if anyone has.
Participants, any questions? If you have any questions, you can type in here, or you can just unmute your mic and you can speak. I think we can go ahead, Milan. Maybe towards the end of the session, we'll ask once again.
Right. Yeah. Okay. So with that, that takes us to the second question, where I will spend a little bit more time, because from my experience, this is a question that a lot of people have tried attempting, which we titled as OCR Denoising. So there are 2 key parts here. I will not go into details, but I will try to explain it over the phone itself, over this WebEx itself. So what we are trying to do is, usually today, if you look at how OCR would work, I will take a scanned or a digital PDF, a native PDF, and then I need to extract this information to, in this case, let's say to a Word file. Now, if I'm extracting this information, there are 2 key challenges that I have. The first key challenge that I have is, how do I extract the exact information as per in the PDF document? For example, if I have a digit which is 1000, when I extract that to MS Word, I might get it as, instead of 1, I might get an I. So it will be I000. Or to make things worse, it might be I and O instead of 1000, 1000. So that is one typical or just random example that I thought I will share. But to put the problem, so that is one of the biggest issues that we have when we try to extract numbers. It might come as characters. When we try to extract characters, it might come as numbers, or the entire word might be missing, or the words might be misspelled. Like there are so many OCR issues when we try to extract it from the source document to MS Word document. So this is the first problem that we need to attack. And then the second problem that we have to attack here is recreating the table structure, or rather the document structure in the native document. if I have a PDF file with this format, with these amount of spaces between these, now here if you see there, the space from the first this box, first text box to the second text box, and if I see the space here to here is different. Even the tabular format, how it appears is different. Now how do I recreate this structure in a Word document is one of the biggest challenges that we have. So these two are the key challenges that you have in this problem statement. Again, if I repeat, number one, how do I make sure whatever I extract is accurate? Number two, whatever I extract, how do I make sure that I retain the original structure of the document that I originally had? So these two are the key challenges that we have looked at, and from our experience, from what we have seen, a lot of people have attempted this question, because this is a probably a very big challenge that a lot of people have. So we see a lot of people attempt this, and there are so many ready-made solutions that are available as well. However, one of the biggest things where people have succeeding is in correcting this OCR output. Where people find a lot of challenge is where reconstructing this entire table structure. So if anybody is interested in attempting this question, you need to make sure that the OCR output accuracy is also at a high level. At the same time, you're able to recreate this document structure as well. Because in this problem, we need the exact file, the entire PDF file, as exactly it appears in the PDF in this, I'm in the first one. If I go to the second question, as exactly it appears in the PDF, and this carries 100 marks, which is the maximum possible marks that you can get. And this is the second question that we have. Again, I will pause here in case if someone has any questions to be clarified.
Milan. Mr. Rohit Katla wants to know, what are they supposed to process and store it in the CSV files?
Right. So I think that question is for the first, related to the first question, because the second question, the output that we need is in MS Word. So if I go back to the first one, how exactly you will need this? Now there are, so what the task that you need to do is you will have to work with 10 files, right? So if you provide 10 files in this case, you will have, I will just take one Excel file and show you how it works. Are you guys able to see my screen, meaning the Excel file as well, or you only see the PDF?
We are only able to see the PDF.
All right. So in that case, just imagine you have an Excel sheet where you will have a table where you will have two columns. Column 1 is my file name, and column 2 is this categorization. So how I would need this CSV table is file name, comma, the categorization. File name, comma, the categorization. That's how, if I key 10 documents to this, the output has to be file name, comma, the categorization. Easy or moderate or difficult. Likewise, I need 10 rows. That's what I need in the PDF, the CSV file.
Rohit, is that clear?
Yes, it is clear. Thank you.
Okay. I think we can go ahead, Milan.
Hello. Excuse me. I have one question.
Yeah.
I'm Dipanshu. My question is regarding the second problem. In the first part of the second problem, we have to identify the errors that OCRs made, and we have to store that error somewhere, or what we have to do with that after identifying the errors?
You need to simply fix that error in this case.
Okay.
So meaning
means
so meaning if you have, say, if you have a financial document, right? I'll try to explain it this way. So look at this number. Okay, look at this number, for example. Now, due to an OCR error, this 10th, so this is 10,000, right? You have a comma here. Instead of the comma, you might have a dot here. And then, so in that case, the number, instead of 10,000, you're going to have only 10 point some number, which is completely changing the numbers. So what we need you to do is first fix that error, second correct that error. So in the output, we just need the 10,990. and within that, obviously, you will have to store this in your code somewhere based on your logic, but depending on the logic you use. But that we do not need as an output. We just need only the corrected data as an output.
Okay, thanks. I understood the problem here.
All right, cool. Anything else that I can clarify here?
Anyone? No, I think we can go ahead.
All right, so that brings us to the third and the last question for the day, which is profit and loss statement processing. So again, this is also a similar challenge to the second one, which contains the fullest maximum possible marks. And at a high level, the problem is you need to understand, you need to be able to extract this tabular data, in this case, this tabular data, and you need to be able to fit it in a format that we are going to provide you. Now, the challenge that you're going to have here is, if I take 10,000 companies, and if I look at the 10,000 ways that they create their P&L, in this case, for this challenge, we will be looking at the P&L statement only. So the way they create their P&L, 10,000 companies will write it in 10,000 different ways. Fixed assets could be written in many different ways. So your code has to, what it has to do, it has to do two things. First, it has to extract this information, and then it has to identify what exactly it is referring to in the template that we have, and then it has to go and put it in that template. So if I show you what that template is, so this is how the template would look. So this template is nothing but the UK's the accounting body's defined standard template. So you will read the profit and loss statement from the accounts that's going to be, from the statements that's going to be provided to you, and you need to pick those values and understand that it belongs to turnover, go and place it under turnover. If it is cost of sales, go and place it in cost of sales. If it is gross profit, so this is probably going to be a calculation. So you can either decide to take the calculation and put it here, or what I would recommend is you take the calculation and put it, and also go ahead, extract that information and double check and make sure what the numbers that you have put is accurate. So similar to turnover, cost of sales, you will have few more data points like this, or other data entities like this. So your task simply is to go extract the data from the original table, match these line items against the table that we have, structured table that we have provided, and go place the data. And we need this in CSV format. So that is the problem in a simple manner. But one of the challenges that you will have here is you need to have certain amount of financial data to perform this test or to attempt this question. Why? Because we are not in a position to define how turnover would come in 1,000 different ways. So you probably, my recommendation is, if you want to attempt this question, get somebody from which has financial background, who has financial background, and try to understand. So because if you are trying to build a dictionary to match these line items, right? So that person needs to have some amount of financial knowledge to say, okay, this belongs to turnover, and this line item belongs to cost of sales. So that's one recommendation that I have. However, this is also an excellent question for you to attempt, which gives you the fullest possible marks.
Is there anyone whom they can refer, Milan, as you said?
From our end, or is
Yes,
it from
RRD's end? Yes.
No, so from RRD's end, we will not go up to that level of helping them in understanding the financial domain. So the simple answer is no. But if you need support in understanding the question, yes, the mentors are definitely there. They will help you to understand. But there is no help that will be given from RRD for you to define the solution. So that is exactly the challenge. So that's something that you will have to manage from your end.
Okay, so Milan, what I have done is I have created a WhatsApp group, so where these contestants can join, and
Right.
if they have any questions, they can just type in there itself, so that we can try to provide the solution then and there. if they are building the solution, if they are in the middle of developing the solution, so that they can just put their questions, and any of us can try to be there and answer their questions.
Yeah, I mean, if you think that works, yeah, that's a good idea. We can go ahead with that as well. But my only challenge is here is, or maybe we can take it offline, Vijita. We can have the discussion.
Yeah, definitely. So, participant, I'm going to share the link of the WhatsApp group at the end of the sessions in the chat box. Please make a note of it. So, anybody from my team, either Pradeep or Vijeta or Paranita, will be there, and we'll try to get the answers to your questions at the earliest. Okay. And coming back to question number 3, Milan, Rohit was again asking what is the type of the input file, but you have already mentioned that it should be a CSV file, right?
Yeah, in that case, the output is going to be CSV, but the input is going to be these financial documents, annual accounts that I mentioned. So for all these 3 questions, your input is the same, which is annual accounts that is filed in the UK. So those accounts would look like this, right? So in case if you haven't seen one, I would suggest that you just Google one. In Google, you can easily find these documents. So the typical document would look like this. You will have tables, you will have text, likewise. So this is you will be using for all these 3 questions. But when it comes to output, question number 1, we need it in CSV. Question number 2, we need it in MS Word. Question number 3, again we need it in CSV.
Understood. So again, Mr. Yatendra wants to know, so can we use open source implementations for some algorithms?
Yeah, definitely. So you're free to use whatever the tool that you think would work here. And I would encourage you to not to get limited to one, but to try many tools that are available. The constraint here is you have to make sure all these are free and open source tools. So there can't be any licensed tools. Hence the reason why we went ahead with R and Python as well. So whatever the libraries or whatever the modules that you use, everything has to be free and open source and cannot be licensed.
Okay. Any other questions? Rohit?
So coming back to the question I asked, like the input file is an image, right?
It's a PDF. So some of the PDFs you will find digital, meaning you don't have to OCR. Some of the PDFs are scanned, so you will have to OCR. But those are PDF files.
Thank you so much.
Participants, any other questions? No. I think we can go ahead, Milan.
Yep. So that's all actually I had for the day.
Hello, I have one question.
Go ahead, please.
Yeah, the data set for first and third problem are exactly the same, no?
Yes.
Okay. Now, apart from these problem statements, is there anything that you have seen the previous submissions that we have received? So, if you have seen any kind of common mistakes that participant has done and you do not want them to repeat here, would you like to suggest anything on this?
Right. So on this front, my experience has been that most of the participants tried the second question. So however, my recommendation is not to get limited to the second question, but also focus on the first and third. Third question is also a great challenge where you can have a lot of benefits and focus on. So that's one. Second, try to have a very clear understanding of the problem statement. So if you are not clear about problem statement, have a chat with us. We are there to support you. And only jump into the solution only when you are very clear as to what exactly has to happen. And also try to have a methodological approach. So we understand that we tend to jump into the solution, start coding as soon as when we see the problem. However, before you go there, my advice is clearly understand the problem statement, try to define it in your own words, see how the input files look, take a larger sample and try to understand how the input files look, and then try to build the solution architecture, which is actually we are asking for you to send to us before you start coding as well. So have it, so and make use of mentors. Have those solution architecture shared with mentors. They will, in case if you haven't understood the problem right, or if they think the solution is not gonna give the expectations that we want, the mentors will be there to support you. So once the solution design is fully finalized, then go ahead, start coding, and during your coding session as well, keep in touch with mentors. They will support you, and then we can work together in getting a final output. But so that this is how I would imagine how it would happen. But from my experience, sometimes how it happens is a lot of people start coding and then they come to us and say, okay, here is the solution, and then we understand that this is not exactly what we have defined initially, and then you need to go back and do a lot of rework. So I think instead of trying that method, the best method that I would recommend you, if I were you, what I would suggest is I will take a methodological approach where I will first define the problem statement, then I will define the solution architecture, I will get it finalized, meaning get it reviewed by the mentors, and then I will go ahead, start coding, do my testing, and then I will give the final output. That's how I would do this, and I would recommend you to do that as well.
Okay, so Mr. Deepak wants to know for question 2, when we convert it into Word, we do have to take care of the white space also?
Yes, I mean in this case, right, if you look at the table, these are not defined by the rows, right? So these are simply the white, these are how do I say, the difference is white spaces here. So I'm not going to count how many white spaces you have and see if you have exactly done that, but you have to make sure that the difference between this white space and this is maintained. And for me, I think that's the only way where you can have these rows defined clearly.
Deepak, is that clear? You're unmuted now, you can speak. Deepak? Okay, so he's saying yes.
Yeah, and Arka, do we have you on the call? Arka?
No.
Yeah, that's okay. So I think if my answer clears the question, we're good.
Okay. So any other questions? Guys, this is the right time. So please, ask any questions. Hope you all have got a chance to go through the problem statements and data sets. If you're having the smallest doubt also, you can clarify it here so that clarifying it here avoids reworking on your solutions towards the end. I think no more questions, Milan.
Great. So the one last point that I thought I'll share with these contestants is, do not look at this purely from a contest standpoint. Also look at this from an education standpoint. Hence, one of the main reasons why we wanted to go ahead with this is also to focus and see how we can share as an organization the benefit, or rather the knowledge that we have gained from industry. How can we share that with everybody who is trying to get into this industry, with all these university students? So that being said, try to attempt all the questions, or rather all the tools, all the approaches that you can have, so that it would give you a great learning experience, and try to leverage the benefit of mentors as well, because all the mentors that have been assigned to this are experts in their own field, so they can share and add value to your solution. So keep working with them, and in addition to winning this competition, also make sure that you guys enjoy and you guys gain some knowledge out of this challenge as well.
Okay, so Deepak wants to know if they can have one more session on how to train Tesseract OCR.
Right, so I might not have an answer right now, because that's not something that we have put it in our scope, meaning from a technology side to what extent we will go ahead and support. I do not have an answer right now. I haven't made the decision yet. So we'll park that question for now. We will internally discuss and we will come back to see to what extent we can support from a technological standpoint, and we'll come back.
Okay, so everybody, see, I have shared the WhatsApp link with you all. Try to join to that group so that if you have any questions while developing the solution, and if you want that to be, if you want those questions to be answered at the earliest, you can type in there so that we will get in touch with the mentors and we will try to get the questions answered at the earliest. Okay, hope you all had a great session, great learning from this particular session. Okay, I wish you all the very best, and please try to submit your solution at the earliest so that the mentors can review it and they can tell you where you can change it or how you can improvise on it. Okay, that's it for the day.
Hello.
Anything
Hello.
else?
Hello. I have one question.
Yeah, please.
See, what I understand from this OCR, like last time I tried to solve this issue. So in Python, this is open source library for doing all this extracting data from this PDF and image and all those things. So particularly, what the issue was actually those they have some their pre-built deep learning model that's already trained with their own data. So when we tried with our financial statement, it won't work properly because it's totally different than that thing. So that's the reason that we have to, if we want to achieve the proper accuracy, we have to train the deep learning model with our data and all those things. So that was the reason that that is like, I think everyone those who wants to build proper solution need this thing, that like I feel like that. So that's why I asked to, can we have one session on that thing, because I tried on online many solution and many videos I go through, but I'm not able to do that thing.
Yeah, I think that's a good point that you brought in, and thanks for sharing those thoughts. But however, unfortunately, right now I can't commit and say training session is going to go ahead. But we will give it some time. We will see what exactly are the areas that everyone wants to know, and then if we decide to go ahead with it, we will go ahead. But even if it is not, the mentor that's assigned to you should be able to support you, at least give you where that information is available. So that support we can definitely provide to you.
Is that clear, Deepak? Yeah.
Yeah, it's clear. Go ahead.
I think that's it, Milan. Anything else from your end?
No, I'm good. Thank you.
Okay, fine. So thank you all for joining this session, and I wish you all very good luck. Okay, have a great evening. Bye-bye.
Great. Thank you guys. Good luck. Cheers.